Mice and Men is a novel by John Steinbeck, first published in 1937. It is set during the Great Depression, a time of economic hardship in America, and tells the story of two displaced migrant workers, George Milton and Lenny Small, as they navigate the struggles of living on the margins of society. Main characters: George Milton, a small, wiry, quick-witted man who takes care of Lenny. Despite his tough exterior, he is deeply compassionate and protective of his friend. Lenny Small, a large, physically powerful man with a mental disability. Lenny has the mind of a child, and while he means well, he often causes trouble unintentionally. Candy, an aging ranch worker who has lost one of his hands in an accident. He is lonely and dreams of joining George and Lenny in their quest to own a small farm. Curly, the boss's son, a small but aggressive man who is quick to pick fights, especially with Lenny. Curly's wife, the only female character in the story. She is lonely and isolated on the ranch, often seeking attention from the men. She is never named in the book, simply referred to as Curly's wife. Slim, a skilled mule driver. He is the only character who seems to understand George and Lenny's bond and treats them with respect. Crooks, the black stable hand, who lives in isolation due to racial segregation. He is cynical but yearns for companionship. Plot overview. The novella begins with George and Lenny traveling to a new ranch in California after being forced to leave their previous job in weed. Lenny, who loves petting soft things, accidentally scared a woman in weed by touching her dress, leading to their hasty departure. On the new ranch, George and Lenny are hired to work and find a rough and divided atmosphere. While George is sharp and practical, Lenny is gentle but struggles with his disability, often unintentionally causing harm. Lenny's love for petting soft things like rabbits or puppies leads him into trouble, as he doesn't understand his own strength. Despite the hard conditions, George and Lenny share a dream of owning a piece of land together, a dream that represents hope and freedom from the transient, oppressive life of migrant labor. They talk often about this dream, and it's a vision that keeps them going. Lenny is especially fixated on the idea of tending to rabbits on their future farm. They meet several characters on the ranch. Candy, the old man, overhears their conversation about owning a farm and asks to join them, offering his life savings in exchange for a place in their future. Curly, the boss's son, immediately takes a disliking to Lenny and picks a fight with him. Lenny, urged by George to defend himself, accidentally crushes Curly's hand in the struggle. Curly's wife is lonely and seeks out the men, but her presence is often disruptive. She tries to flirt with George and Lenny, but they avoid her, knowing she can cause trouble for them. One day, Lenny accidentally kills a puppy he was petting too roughly. Devastated, Lenny hides the puppy and tries to keep it a secret. Soon after, Curly's wife enters the barn and tries to talk to Lenny. In their conversation, Lenny, still upset over the puppy, strokes her hair. She reacts by yelling at him, and in a panic, Lenny pulls too hard on her hair, accidentally breaking her neck. When George learns of Lenny's actions, he knows the men on the ranch will soon find him and likely kill him for what he's done. George and Lenny's dream of a better life is shattered. In a heartbreaking twist, George takes it upon himself to end Lenny's life mercifully before a mob can get to him. In the final moments of the novella, George reassures Lenny, telling him their dream one last time before shooting him in the back of the head, sparing him from the brutal fate that would surely follow. Themes. The American dream, the dream of owning land and achieving independence, is a central theme. George and Lenny's dream represents hope in a harsh world, but the novella ultimately suggests that the American dream is elusive, particularly for marginalized individuals. Loneliness and isolation. Many characters in the novel suffer from loneliness. Lenny, George, Candy, Crooks, and Curly's wife all experience different forms of isolation. This theme reflects the social alienation that was rampant during the Great Depression. Friendship and sacrifice. The bond between George and Lenny is at the heart of the story. George's sacrifice for Lenny at the end of the novel highlights the theme of loyalty and the profound connection between the two men. Powerlessness. Throughout the novel, characters are shown as powerless in the face of larger societal forces. Lenny, because of his mental disability, and the other workers, because of their economic status, are all subject to forces beyond their control. Conclusion. A of Mice and Men ends on a tragic note, emphasizing the futility of dreams in a world where hope is often crushed by the harsh realities of life. The novel reflects Steinbeck's compassion for the disenfranchised and his belief that human connection and compassion, despite the harshness of the world, are what give life meaning. This was a brief summary, but it covers the major characters, events, and themes of the novella. Let me know if you'd like to dive deeper into any part of the story.